It's Thursday, the 21st of November, 2024. Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 big stories to get through in just 5 minutes today, so we better get going. Story number 1. Rio Tinto has released the second part of its investigation into workplace culture at the miner. And while there's been some improvement around racism and sexual harassment, there's also been a backlash against workplace diversity programs.
The investigation's being overseen by Liz Broderick, the former Sex Discrimination Commissioner. It includes a survey of 11,600 staff, more than 1,300 interviews, 342 written submissions. It shows that bullying is still systemic at Rio, but racism and sexual harassment are common, not systemic, but are common. But there are some indications of positive change. While half the respondents said things are better, there were more reported cases of harassment and racism. Females are more likely to be bullied. In fact, females operating equipment at iron ore mines are most at risk. Bit of a surprise was the backlash against the company's efforts. Women reported experiencing increasing retaliation in the form of gender bullying in response to Rio's efforts to promote diversity and inclusion. Men feel they've been silenced or feel guilty by chromosome. Some men now feel undervalued and overlooked. Reverse discrimination, I think. CEO Jakob Stausholm said the report shows mixed results.
It's a bit hard to know, Sean, if things are actually getting better or not based on what you've just said.
The background to this is there was a WA parliamentary inquiry a few years ago that revealed incidents of sexual assault and harassment in fly-in, fly-out operations run by Rio, BHP and Fortescue Metals. This report shows that cultural change is hard. The company said it needs to better explain how it is trying to overhaul its culture so staff are treated fairly and feel safe. Good on Rio for commissioning and releasing the report, but still a long way to go.
Yeah, there certainly is. All right, moving on to story number 2 now. The world's largest packaging group, Amcor, is on the verge of doing one of the biggest corporate deals ever by an Australian company, offering to buy out a US-listed company called Berry for about $13 billion.
If successful, the new group will have 400 packaging plants around the world, 75,000 staff, thousands of customers. It's an all-scrip bid, which means Berry shareholders end up owning Amcor shares. The group expects to attract a whopping $650 million US, 1 billion Aussie dollars in synergies. Amcor's primary listing nowadays is on the New York Stock Exchange. Its head office is in Zurich, but it began life in the 1860s as a paper miller on the banks of the Yarra River in Melbourne. It listed in New York when it spent nearly $7 billion US buying another company back in 2019. If the deal's done, $37 billion in turnover, $6.6 billion in pre-tax profit. Amcor's about flexible packaging. It's big in the US, Latin America and Asia. Berry's about rigid containers. It too is big in the US, but also big in Eastern Europe. Amcor says the deal would create a bigger company, better able to develop the future's sustainable packaging products.
Story number 3, Federal Treasurer Jim Chalmers has flagged a healthier bottom line when the federal budget is updated next month, thanks to a higher tax take.
While the budget this financial year is running about $3.6 billion ahead of forecasts, it is still likely to be a deficit of $25 to $29 billion. Now, we've had 2 surpluses in a row, not this financial year. What's helping out? The jobs market. Unemployment 4.1%. That helps 2 things. It helps revenue, more income tax. It also lowers outgoings in as much as there are fewer social welfare payments. Could have been even better, except that iron ore prices and other commodity prices have fallen. In fact, they're down about 30% since the start of the year.
Story number 4, the government has flagged changes to how retirees will be able to use their superannuation, with hopes that funds will offer more innovative products, Sean.
That's the goal. 2.5 million Australians retire over the next decade. The government wants reforms so super funds can make payments in instalments, for example, rather than upfront lump sums. They also want deals where the super funds can provide money back guarantees, a bit like annuity providers like Challenger, all supposed to kick in about mid-2026. The funds do a good job in the accumulation stage when people are saving money, less good in the decumulation stage. The reforms aim to help that. Meanwhile, the monthly update from Chant West shows the median growth super fund in Australia was up just 0.1% in October, sitting about 10% for the year, though. Pretty good.
Last one, Sean. Story number 5. What do you make of this? The world has a new most expensive street with Milan beating New York and London to take the title.
Based on the top rents that landlords can charge retailers, the street in Milan, Via Monte Napoleone, is up 11% over the last year to €20,000. That's about 32,000 Aussie per square metre annually. Comes from Cushman and Wakefield, one of the big property groups. New York Fifth Avenue came in second, though rents fell. Bond Street in the UK was third. Champs-Élysées was fifth in Paris, and the Pitt Street Mall in Sydney was eighth.
There you go. All right. Top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you very much, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It is Thursday, the 21st of November, 2024. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed, wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.